Peace and blessings, soul family. I love you all. I hope everyone's doing well today. Continuing reading a few sections about the different chakras from a few different books. Systematic course in the ancient tantric techniques of yoga and Kriya. So we're on Vishuddha chakra. In the last 4 lessons, we have described the following chakras: Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, and Anahata. The first 2 are generally associated with the attributes of tamas. The third and fourth chakras are associated with the qualities of rajas. In this topic, we will discuss the first of the sattvic chakras, the Vishuddhi chakra. The word sattva means purity, understanding, peace, and other qualities that lead to and are an expression of both inner harmony and harmonious interactions with other people and in the world in general, outside the world in general. Vishuddhi chakra is located in the throat region and comes immediately above the Anahata chakra in the ascending order of the chakras. The Sanskrit word Vishuddhi means purification. Therefore, this chakra is usually translated as the purification center. It is in this center that purifies and harmonizes all opposites. It is also called Vishuddhadikaya chakra, which has the same meaning. This chakra is also widely called the center of nectar because it is the level of being where poison and nectar, good and bad, are united in a common experience of bliss. Vishuddhi chakra is sometimes called Bharatisthana, the center of speech, because it is the location of the throat region. Bharati is the goddess of speech. There is a beautiful story in the Indian scriptures that clearly illustrates the process of Vishuddhi. The story goes as follows. It is said that in the primordial past, the Suras and Asuras were continually fighting against each other. The Suras are beings that represent the forces of good and light in the world and within each individual. These are the forces which help a person to overcome all obstacles and tread the spiritual path. In Christianity, the equivalent would be angels. Other religions have other names for them, and for the opposite tendencies which lead to ignorance or tie a person to low levels of understanding. These are the forces that act as obstacles on the spiritual path. They can be roughly translated as demons or devils. These 2 forces can be understood and interpreted in many ways and on many different levels of subtlety, but we leave this to the reader. Let us return to the story. Both the Suras and Asuras tried to dominate and destroy each other. Eventually, Vishnu tried to resolve the conflict by suggesting that they stir up the primordial ocean, called the Ocean of Milk, representing the world and the mind, and equally divide the contents between them. This seemed to be a fair solution, and Vishnu's plan was adopted. The primordial ocean was stirred up, and many things arose to the surface of sharing and distribution. Everyone was very happy until a gruesome poison rose up to the surface. Neither the Suras nor the Asuras wanted it, but they could not throw the poison away because it could cause harm. There seemed to be a dilemma. Eventually, Vishnu approached Shiva, who was in deep meditation, asked his advice. Shiva merely picked up the poison and drank it in one gulp. It caused him absolutely no harm. Because of this action, Shiva is widely known as Nilakanta, blue-throated, where blue refers to the poison. This action is very symbolic and very meaningful. It indicates that at higher levels of awareness or meditation, at and above the level of Vishuddhi chakra, even poison, the negative aspects of existence, bad, evil, war, destruction, etc., can be integrated as part of the whole. All aspects of existence, whether poison or nectar, are part of the total scheme of being. When a person functions at this level of Vishuddhi chakra and above, then all concepts of good and bad fall away. They are seen in a higher light, from a wider viewpoint. Thus Shiva, because of his elevated state of being, was able to absorb even the poisonous aspects and experiences of life and transform them into a source of bliss. Incidentally, there is also a bird in India called Nilakanta because of its blue throat. In English, it's called blue jay. Also, the peacock is often associated with the ability to absorb poison and transform it into nectar. The peacock can eat almost anything without harming itself. This also applies to the yogi, whose level of being is at Vishuddhi chakra. All experiences, good and bad, are sources of bliss. Everything becomes nectar, blissful. It is said that the divine fluid flows and cascades downward from the higher point called the Bindu to Vishuddhi. This fluid is symbolic and represents Satchitananda, the truth consciousness bliss, which originates in the Sahasrara, the source of all being, but manifests through Bindu. Bindu can be considered as a gateway between Sahasrara and individual existence, the gateway between the infinite and the finite. This divine fluid has many different names. In English, it can be called ambrosia, the food of the gods, the elixir of life. It is widely called amrita, the nectar of immortality. In the Vedas, it is known as soma, nectar. In the Tantras, it's called madhya, divine wine. Many Sufi poets refer to the sweet wine which brings instant satisfaction. They are not talking about wine made from grapes, but the wine of bliss. The wine used in Christian ceremonies also symbolizes the same bliss. Exoterically, it represents the blood of Christ, but really it refers to the blissful nature that was the essence of Christ and in the essence of all beings. In the Bible, Christ says, "But whoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but in the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up from everlasting life." This is not ordinary water. It is the divine fluid of bliss that descends from Bindu to Vishuddhi Chakra. Every religious system and every system concerned with opening up this potential contained within each being has its own symbolism for the unspeakable feeling of bliss. The meaning is the same. Lalana Chakra is a minor chakra that is closely associated with the Vishuddhi Chakra. It is located at the root of the palate at the back of the mouth. It is called the center that is referred to in the following quotation from the Bible. "But God clave a hollow place that it was in the jaw, and there came out water therein. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived." Again, the water is not a liquid water, but bliss. After the nectar leaves the Bindu, it is stored in the Lalana Chakra before reaching Vishuddhi Chakra. Lalana Chakra is sometimes called the Kala Chakra, the center of division, because it is this center where the nectar from Bindu divides from either good or bad experiences in life. When Vishuddhi Chakra combined with Lalana Chakra is not awakened, life tends to be painful and unhappy. The nectar becomes poison. But when Vishuddhi and Lalana chakras are awakened, then the nectar remains in the form of bliss. Life becomes a source of joyful experiences, such as the importance of Vishuddhi Lalana chakras. Incidentally, the purpose of the well-known practice of Kachari Mudra is to stimulate and awaken this Lalana chakra. Though it is a physical tendency, it induces more subtle changes on a psychic level. Is at this center or level of awareness where the world begins to become like one's own home. One becomes open to all experiences, whether good or bad. The stage of this world and life in general is regarded as the provider of experiences that lead to greater understanding. Instead of fighting with life, one begins to flow with the current of life. One ceases to continually avoid or ignore bad experiences or facets of life and seeks good experiences. Instead, there is a tendency to let things happen in the way that they must. The nectar and the poison are both consumed. Everything and everyone becomes magical. Instead of feeling neurotic and antagonistic towards the world and other people, one begins to relax and flow with all situations. One becomes in tune with other people. More and more, one will see sense and intelligence behind all things and actions. This is the center where all people and all things are seen as a cosmic whole, with everything working in harmony and with everything else. It is said that below Vishuddhi it is possible to fall and lose one's level of harmony and understanding. At the level of Vishuddhi and above, this possibility of fall no longer exists. It is the chakra that lies on the threshold of spiritual realization and higher knowledge. In the Shatkarma Nirupana, it says, "The chakra Vishuddhi is the gateway to liberation for he who wishes to know the real meaning of yoga and whose senses are purified and controlled." It is said that a person who opens Vishuddhi chakra knows all the scriptures without needing to read them. That is, a person at this level of understanding comprehends the meaning behind the scriptures, through his own experience and intuition. He becomes compassionate, peaceful, and full of bliss. I'll read this next part in the next one. Peace and blessings. I love you guys.